Ever wonder how you can come to the U.S. to see the sights? Or maybe you just came to the United States on a tourist visa. You know, the B2 they put in your passport? Well, what does that mean? What am I allowed to do? How long can I stay? Can I work? Well, I'm that immigration guy, and I'll answer those questions and a lot more. Welcome to my channel. I'm Brent Newcomb. If you're new here, I'm that immigration guy, an attorney focusing solely in immigration law for almost 20 years. And believe me, I've seen it all. I hope you like this video and subscribe for all the news and updates regarding immigration to the United States. I do want you to remember that I'm not giving you specific legal advice about your case. Every single case is different. This is an informative video. For advice on your particular situation, please seek help from a qualified and experienced immigration attorney, such as me, that immigration guy. So, you have a B2 visitor visa, or you're abroad and thinking about coming to the U.S. as a tourist. Well, millions of people come to the U.S. every year for tourism to enjoy our wonderful cities, like right here in Chicago. Maybe take in some events, see a concert, visit relatives like that crazy niece who moved here a few years back, you name it. And the U.S., of course, wants to encourage that tourism. It's a mega billion-dollar influx. The last few years, the average number of visas issued was around 7.5 million people, with around 75 million people coming every year. Thus, the B2 visa. You might be asking, B2, well, is there a B1? Well, yes, there is. And the two visas are very similar. The B1 is more for business purposes, but I'll cover that in another video. Right now, we're going to discuss the B2, the granddaddy tourist visa. Some of the key features of the visa are that it's quick and straightforward, unlike a lot of the other ways to come to the U.S. and stay here. Normally, you apply at the U.S. consulate or embassy in your home country. The process can take anywhere from a couple of days to a couple of weeks. The visas are then issued for single or multiple entry and can be for 1, 2, 5, even 10 years. A lot of that also depends on the country from which you're applying. If you're already in the U.S. and have gone through the process, great. A lot of the stress and coming to the U.S. is over. But wait. How long can I stay here, you ask? My visa is good for 10 years. Well, now I need to explain an important concept in immigration law, the difference between the validity period of your visa and the amount of time you can actually stay in the U.S. These are different things and can have vastly different periods. If you've ever had such a question, write in the comment section below 10 years, because I'd love to hear from you. When I travel abroad, such as to Russia, my visitor validity and the amount of time I can stay in the country are combined in the same time period. Like I'll get a visa valid for 3 weeks, and I have to enter and leave within that 3 weeks. However, for the U.S., you can have a 10-year multi-entry visa, but when you come to the country, you won't get a 10-year period of stay. Rather, you'll be given a 6-month window, for example, to stay in the U.S. The visa and the period you can stay on are two separate things. So, don't confuse the visa period with the period of authorized stay. You do not know how many people get these concepts confused. It's normal. That's why I'm here. So you're at the port of entry. What now? Well, when you enter the country on the B2, you may be given anywhere from 30 days to 6 months, depending on the nature of your visit. This period is determined by the Customs and Border Protection Agency when you apply to enter. A small tip, you should always bring the documents that support the reason you asked for the visa with you when you cross the border or fly into the airport, just in case the officer wants to see it. I know what some of you are thinking. I came without a visa. What's he talking about? Well, not all countries need a visa to come to the U.S., although you can apply for a visa in those countries regardless. A future video will discuss what's called the Visa Waiver Program, its benefits and limitations. But for now, we're talking about the B2. And there may even be significant reasons why someone would choose to get a visa rather than come in under that Visa Waiver Program. So you're in the U.S. enjoying the sights. What do? Well, once your visa period expires, you must, by law, leave the country or apply for an extension. And both of these topics will be covered in other videos. So, what are the qualifications for the B2 tourist visa, you might ask? First, you got to be coming for temporary purposes. This is a critical concept in the law. Your intent at the time of entry really matters. Generally, there is a presumption that all non-citizens seeking to enter the U.S. have permanent intent, that you plan on staying for a long time, maybe forever. It's up to you to prove otherwise. If not, you're not going to be granted entry, even if you have that valid visa in your passport. Okay? So what does temporary purposes mean? I'm glad you asked. Generally, it means for purposes of normal tourism, seeing cities, sights, attending festivals, visiting friends, relatives. What does it not mean? Coming to stay permanently, coming with the intent to change your visa or something else, coming to marry, coming to do business. You're not allowed to do business-related activities at all. You're coming for a pleasure, or in rare cases, medical treatment. And work? No. But I've been here before, you say. Well, another factor to consider is how often or how long you've already been in the U.S. If your travel history shows you've been in the U.S. too long or too often, you'll then be shown to have immigrant intent and thus violated the terms of your visa. I know, there are millions who violated that provision. That's why I'm in business to try to help that foreigner who's caught or picked up or put in removal or deportation or gets a denial because he's tried to do something that's not allowed. Simply put, come for tourism, nothing else. Okay, you say, I'm ready. So how do I apply for a tourist visa? Of course, my office will be more than happy to assist with this process. However, it is something that can be done without legal expert assistance, provided there's no complications in your history, like prolonged absences or entries, any criminal record, misrepresentations, that sort of thing. Step 1. Generally, you may apply directly at the U.S. Consulate on the DS-160 form. And it's not the easiest form to navigate, but it is doable. And most consulates have tons of information specific to their locale on how to do it. But you will need a lot of information. And please don't lie or omit anything when applying. It's illegal, can cause severe consequences, and will cost you money when you got to come to my office to get things straightened out. A little side note. If you are in trouble or expect to have troubles, contact me at immigrate2us.com or thatimmigrationguy.com. We can set up a paid consultation via phone, email, or in person. I'll be glad to talk to you. And I do speak fluent Russian, by the way. Step 2, schedule the interview at the consulate or embassy. Instructions on how to do this will be on the individual U.S. consulate's website. Every U.S. consulate in every country does it differently, and they change their rules a lot. Again, my office can help navigate you through this process. Hey, if you've ever tried to browse a consulate's website, it can be really tricky. If you know what I'm talking about, tell your story in the comments below. I'd love to hear it. Step 3. Pay the application fee. Again, instructions on how and how much are on the websites. Before 1994, the B visa was free. One only paid for the issuance fee. In 94, the fee increased to $20. Now, the fees vary by the country and the issuance and all sorts of things. But a lot of this has to do with geopolitical issues with these countries. Just be prepared to spend a couple $100 at this point. Step 4. Gather your documents. You're going to need a lot more than you think you do. My office can provide an exhaustive list if we're assisting you with the process. However, if you're doing it on your own, you will need documents showing the purpose of your trip, concert tickets, reservations, those kind of documents. Things that show you're going to leave the country and have not abandoned your permanent residence. These would include things like family you've left behind, property in your home country, financial resources like a job that you're temporarily leaving but intend to continue. You will also need proof you can cover your expenses, and we can help with a formal list of those documents and forms as well if you wish my office to assist you. Step 5. Attend the interview before a consular officer. The officer will examine the forms and documents you've presented and ask a lot of questions about the purpose of your trip. Here it's important not to lie. I know dozens of cases that have crossed my desk where lies, misrepresentation, dishonesty have bitten the client in the ass. It may not come up then, but it might in the future, believe me. I have made a lot of money specifically because people omit key details. Do not lie. So, congratulations, you passed the interview, now have a shiny bright visa in your passport. Only then do you buy your plane tickets to the good old USA. Buying them before the interview does not guarantee success despite popular rumors. The consular officer, frankly, does not care about the tickets you already purchased. The officer is looking for qualifications for the visa only. Do it too early, you can kiss those tickets goodbye. But no one will ever know if I leave out some information, you're thinking. Unfortunately, I can tell you 100 horror stories about each of these stages when a client has run into trouble. A lot of the trouble comes later during green card interviews when an officer compares answers given during the tourist visa process with those at the interview. Spare yourself a heartache. Do it right. Seek a professional's aid. I recently had a case where a client wanted to get married in the U.S. I advised the client not to come to the U.S. on a tourist visa, but rather come with a more appropriate fiancé visa. And yes, there'll be another video on the fiancé visa. Well, he ignored my advice. At the border, his luggage was searched. They found love letters, correspondence, other items related to his upcoming wedding. He was denied entry. His visa revoked with prejudice, meaning he cannot reapply for entry. His fiancée was devastated. The poor sap had to board the next plane back to whateveristan. In a nutshell, that's the B2 visa, tourist visa, as explained by me, that immigration guy. If you like this video, hit like below and please subscribe. I'll be putting out regular content every few days. And share the video. Contact my office for your specific case because I'm going to be happy to help you. And remember that immigration guy for your future immigration legal needs.